Hey guys, what's going on? I wanted to do a more in-depth review on the Serpent Spyder SRX2 mid-motor. Um, I've had this car for quite a while, and there's just not, even now that I've had it for a while, I've still noticed on YouTube there's not a whole lot of good reviews or good in-depth long reviews on this car. So I'd like to do a long review. I mean, if it comes out to 30-40 minutes, hopefully you guys, if you're interested in this car, or you have one, or you have one coming, you plan on building and racing one, hopefully you'll stick around and watch the whole video, however long it is, and my little tips and hints and suggestions and just overall review. You guys like it. So let's get the body off, and that's to give you guys a look at the stock body if you haven't seen it before. It's definitely one of the coolest looking stock bodies. I mean, I know JC does make one for it. I don't know if it's called the Silencer or the Finisher, but personally, I don't think it needs it. That's a pretty cool looking stock body right there. As far as durability of the body, it's definitely one of the strongest bodies I've ever seen come out of a stock car. You know, I had the Losi 22 2.0, the Schumacher Cougar KR, B4.2, Durango 410. I forgot what version that was, the four-wheel drive. And the car I had right before this one was the B5M. And of all those two-wheel drive buggies, this has definitely been one of the top two as far as most, as far as the most durable. I mean, that's definitely got some durability to the cab and all the other parts. Let's go ahead and get the body off, and I'll go over. We'll start off with the build. This car went together extremely easy, very, very well. I'm not going to go too much into the specs. I'll show you guys my extra chassis here. I mean, obviously, it's a composite chassis. Like, obviously mid-motor. You guys can see the battery electronics layout, whereas a B5M is more left to right. You can see here that this is more of a square. And I guess I'll jump into the electronics layout. I mean, you can see, basically, thankfully I'm running a small ESC already. I'm running this is a Viper VTX10 Spectrum SR410 receiver. Some of you may have bigger electronics, but even still, I mean, you still have some decent space in there. I've seen guys run bigger ESCs, bigger receivers. And I'll switch, here in the little side tray. It's a full-size servo. See if I can get a little bit more up close. You can see right here, this is the part of the chassis right here. So your receiver, a full-size receiver, backs right up to that. Now, this piece isn't stock. This is from the B5 battery foams. The cool thing is, though, this fits right in here. So for those of you like me that you want to run your battery in the back, foam fits right in. You want to run it, in the front, foam slides back. Because actually, this is the battery brace. Now, when you build these stock, if you build it in the stock configuration, it actually has 4 of these tabs. I just put 2 of them on here to show you guys, but see these tabs? When you put the brace in, and you have, 4 thumb screws your shorty sits in between those tabs. So the stock configuration is actually for the shorty to be right in the middle of the tray. Hence, that's why they don't give you any of these blocks. So most people, when I ran on carpet, I ran my shorty in the middle. It was okay. But then when I took the buggy over to clay track, I found that running my shorty in the rear was better. Well, you have to find some kind of a battery block and take the little tabs off of the braze. So just a little tip, heads up, these will fit just fine. But as far as the build goes, this car, like I said, this car went together exceptionally well. Everything goes together just like it's supposed to. I took the dust cover off. You guys can see it kind of has a unique slipper design here. The spur gears have the little notches for your pads to fit in. And you'll notice there's no nut here. Well, it's kind of like a low-C design. It's right here. So if you want to adjust your slipper, you don't have to take off the dust cover. You can just do it from this side. Shocks. Some of the best shocks I've ever built. Like I said, I had a low-C 22 2.0, and yeah, the low-C has great shocks, but this, right up there with the low-C. And if you guys notice, you're not hearing anything, which that's good. Associated shocks, no matter how much I tried, especially the B5M, they're newer factory shocks, if you could call them factory shocks. No matter how much you bled the damn things, you still had that, that kissing sound, which if you guys have been building kits long enough, or build any kits, you'll know that means there's still air in there. But these shocks, a little bit of noise, but all that is the friction in the O-rings. But build, I'll show you guys. This is the manual. It's a little dark. Hopefully you guys can see that. Let me turn a bigger light on. Okay, here's the manual. You can see it's a little thinner than some manuals, but it's a very, very good manual. Everything is laid out. Step 1, bag 1, step 2. Obviously still in bag 1. They give you the different servo spacers. It's a very good manual. One thing I'd like to point out, if you are new to this kit, if you have this kit ordered, you have this kit coming, you plan on buying one of these, one thing I'll point out real quick that screwed me up. This is an O-ring that goes around the diff bolt, diff nut, or diff screw. It's basically, you put some, green slime, silicone grease, whatever on it. It's basically to keep dirt, getting in there. But see how this is red? The O-ring is not red. It's clear. And I just wanted to point that out for you guys. Don't make the mistake of thinking that it's red, looking in the parts bag and not seeing a red one and thinking that you didn't get it. And you actually throw the bag away and you end up losing, you throw away your O-ring. So just something I'll point out. But they have all the diagrams towards the end. Parts listings, part numbers, notes. So if you've never seen a Serpent manual, specifically for the Spyder, it's very good. It's what you expect from a high quality kit. So what do you get in the kit? Well, for $299, that's what most places, sell this kit for. You actually get everything you need to hit the track. You don't really need to buy anything for this car. It comes with aluminum rear hexes, spring steel axles, spring steel CVA bones, okay, spring steel turnbuckles, spring steel ball studs, aluminum shock caps, carbon fiber front and rear shock towers. I mean, that's really good. It also comes with, let's see if I can get in there and show you, aluminum toe block. A lot of companies do not supply you with that, as I'm sure some of you guys know if you've built other kits before. Everything else, is pretty standard. Milled out motor plate. The tin shock shafts are not stock. I put those on. And these little aluminum standoff nuts, those are not stock. The stock ones are plastic. And then if you guys are wondering what this is actually a Serpent front wing kit. I don't have the front wing. I'm not actually sure where I put the front wing, or else I'd show you, but it basically mounts, right there. Doesn't come out very far. It's only about like yay wide. You guys can Google images if you want to see what it looks like. But I just kind of left this little Y bracket on. It's a little extra protection, I guess you could say. But this is an actual kit made by Serpent. What it does is you loosen your screws. You basically pull up your top plate. This is like I said, a YT bracket. You take the little plastic wedge out. You slide this in, and there's little screws that screw it up to the top plate, which looks a hell of a lot better than that JC one they got now. But so that's basically what you get. It's basically what you get stock. I mean, like I said, you get everything that you need to start racing. You don't really have to buy anything for this car. I mean, yeah, you can get aluminum rear hubs. A lot of guys don't feel they need them. You can get aluminum, up here, but you don't need that stuff. Oh, it does have right there, that's stock, the aluminum hinge pin brace. So that's cool. And like I said, aluminum shock caps. The lower shock cap is plastic. Everything else is, standard on the shock. It does have this little cool feature. If you guys don't know this about the Serpent, and I can kind of, well, it's going to pick up. These spring cups actually lock onto the eyelet. There's a little groove. Let me get something to, if you can make that out. But there's a little notch on the eyelet, and basically the spring cup locks into that eyelet, so the spring cup won't spin left or right. So that's a cool little feature. But just in case, I always do little zip ties just in case this does pop off. I won't lose the spring cup, because that is kind of a drawback sometimes. If you do lose one of these, you're going to have to either switch out your eyelet or pick up some spares, because of the way they lock. It might be hard to find a replacement at your track or shop. So yeah, alright, the build, excellent. What you get in the kit, I just showed you guys all that. let's talk about durability. Now, I mentioned earlier all the buggies that two-wheel drive buggies I've had. Most recent, the B5M. I had the B5M for 8 months. The only thing I ever broke on the B5M, I got rear-ended by a short course truck on a practice day, and actually broke on the B5M. I broke this rear mount right here. Now this car I've had since January. The only thing I broke, and it wasn't actually the car's fault. Let me turn my... You see how the servo linkage, you see how the ball stud mounts onto the steering rack right here? Well, this all snapped off one day, but it wasn't the car's fault. It was the track I was at, because there was a piece of duct tape sticking up over top of the carpet surface, and my rear wheel got caught under the duct tape, and it immediately threw me into the board, and it snapped right there. And now on the clay track I've been running at mostly, I've had some pretty gnarly crashes. Nothing has broke. So as far as durability goes, I would rank this right there with the B5M. Like, let's say the B5M is a 5 on durability. This car is an easy 4.5 to 4 3/4. I mean, it's right there with the B5. The durability is excellent. So there's definitely no issues there. So let's go over some little issues that are easily fixable. Now, most guys that have built this kit up until recently, the O-rings that come inside the shocks, well, they've had some issues. Now, I don't know 100% if the kits being sold right now come with the new O-rings. Okay, I believe they're a red or a clear. You guys have to search, serpentamerica.com or the Facebook page, the official Serpent Spyder SRX2. But if you guys are buying one of these kits and you're interested in it, you have one coming, whatever. You're watching this video. If you get black O-rings in your shock kits, as of right now I'm making this video, the new O-rings are out, and the leaking is gone with those. So keep that in mind. You get the black O-rings, go ahead and get the new ones, or your kit may come with them. I can't say that's for sure, but I do know the new O-rings are out. Or if you want to go even cheaper, that's the part number right there, 2362. See the little blue O-rings? A lot of guys, myself included, we're running those in here. I can tell you from experience, I have had no leaking whatsoever with these Traxxas O-rings. And you get a pack of these, one pack, a pack like this. I'll do 2 shocks, obviously 2 O-rings per shock. I think these little packs right here are like $3 and something, $4 and something. So if you guys are on a budget and you want to use those instead, hey, go for it. Or if you want to get the new Serpent ones, that's even better. So that's one little issue, obviously easily fixable. The next little issue that sometimes you come across, which I was one of the ones that came across it, the lower shock caps. On some of them that were manufactured, the hole for the shaft is not quite centered. And what happens is, you'll know you have that problem when building. You'll go to put you'll put your piston on and everything, and you'll go to put your shaft through the hole, and it'll feel like the piston is binding within the shock body, or it's crooked. It's not straight up and down like it should be. More than likely, you got to do a little modification on your lower shock cap, which what I did is I took my body reamer, I went, lightly, 1, 2, did the inside, 1, 2, bored out the hole just a little bit. You want to take your time on that. Assemble it and test it. And you want to keep doing equal amounts on each side, inside, outside, until when you assemble it, you have 100% smooth operation. So this is another little issue that you may or may not get on your kits. So lower shock cap, the older O-rings, leaky, but like I said, easily fixable. Make the hole a little bit bigger on the outside, inside. You can get the new genuine Serpent O-rings, or if you want to go on a budget, you can get these. These work awesome. Those have been the only issues that I can think of, that I can remember. I mean, when this car first came out, there was an issue with the kick up here and the chassis being too thin and it was snapping. Well, that's all been taken care of, because now this is 4 millimeters thick here. When it first came out, these were 3 millimeter and they were snapping right around here. That issue's gone. Let me show you guys. I'm kind of going backwards here. I should have showed you this during the build. If you've seen this car, done any research on this car, you'll know the ball studs are a little bit different than usual. They are a 4.5 millimeter hex or hexagonal head, then your ball stud, then obviously your threads down in here. I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you're one of those people that wants to get this kit and you want to start racing it, or you have one coming, you're going to be building one, do yourself a favor and pick up a 4.5 millimeter nut driver. This is a Serpent one, but there are other brands, other companies you can get. Because I'm going to tell you, it makes assembling these a hell of a lot easier than using needle nose pliers or regular pliers. Please do yourself a favor. If you guys are going to be building one of these or buying one of these, get yourself a 4.5 millimeter driver. Because not only does it make installing these a lot easier, all the ones that you have, assembling or putting the rod end onto the ball studs is easier. Because what you do is, you take one of these ball studs, flip it upside down, put it on your workspace, so the threads are pointing up. You take your rod end, put it on top of it, and you basically take your nut driver, pretend that, put it over that, right? And you just push down, and your rod end will snap right onto the ball stud. So not only does it make for installing these, building this kit, adjustment if you got to make any adjustments later on, but putting the rod end onto the ball stud, like I said, you just put it down and, bam, it snaps right on. So, yeah, I should have said that earlier, but I'll go ahead and say it now. Get yourself 4.5 millimeter nut driver. It'll save you a lot of headache, and the last thing you want to do is mar up the head of these ball studs, with a pair of pliers or needle nose, because even though these are spring steel, you can still chew them up pretty quick. So I covered shock cap issues, O-ring issues. Like I said, easily fixable. I wanted to show you guys the unique ball studs. I'm sorry that's not clear. Probably because I had to turn on a lot of lights in here. You know, these ones, oh, sorry. These ones here are black on the knuckles, or C-hubs. You know, but these ones in here, spring steel. The ones on the back, spring steel, spring steel. And it does have the insert system, like the B5. You know, there's inserts in here, inserts in the C-hubs. And some people might say, "Oh, Serpent copied off of Associate." Well, no, actually, this car was out first, so they didn't copy off of anybody. You know. So let's see, what else can we look at? We talked about. Oh, I'm gonna tell you guys about a lot of questions that get asked on the Facebook page. Tire compatibility. I can answer that for you, exactly what tires I've ran before and currently run. These are the Serpent stock front wheels. And as you can see, they have a not so deep, let me put an extra axle, a not so deep hex in there. Plus, you know, the offset's a little different than usual. But I'm going to show you guys right now, again, for those of you that have been researching this and you guys are ordering this car, I'll show you right now exactly what wheels will work. Proline Velocity 2.2s. They will work on the rear only. DE Racing 4 associated front and rear will mount up. JC Bullet. These are the JC Bullets. These are the fronts. These are a 4-pack. You get 2 fronts and 2 rears in each pack. They are 2.4 wheel. I don't know if some of you only want 2.4, 2.2. I personally run 2.4. When I used to run stock, it seemed like my car ran better with 2.2s. But now that I'm running mod, I've been running mod for a while, 2.4s just seem to work better. But here is the part number for the front, 3362Y. And here is the part number for the rear, 3363Y. And you guys will see right there it says also fits Serpent Spyder stock. And they basically look like, you know, they're just a yellow. But you'll see that it has that shallow hub. And obviously all 4, the front and rears, will mount up no problem. Now, I do have an older pair of AKA Evo with chain links. Now, the Evo wheels, the rears will mount up no problem. Okay? The fronts, however, you have to, what I did was, because I usually run Proline, because Proline is that's one of my sponsors. I will use these chain links as like a warm-up practice tire, so I don't ruin my race tires. But what you have to do to get the Evo wheel to work is you have to take an X-Acto and you just trim. We could use a Dremel too, a Dremel sanding wheel. However you want to do it, take your time, and you want to carve down the plastic hub. You want to keep doing it until that sits, the plastic is flush. The plastic is flush with the hexagonal of the axle. If this plastic comes up higher than one of these sides, it's going to rub on the car. So you want to keep trimming that down until this sits exactly flush with the plastic. And then put it on your car and test it. Turn it all the way left, spin the tire. Turn it all the way right, spin the tire. If this sits flush and then there's no rubbing on the car, you're good to go. You can use these. I mean, the only reason I carved these out is because I had these sitting around and I didn't want to just throw them out. I personally probably wouldn't go out and buy these again just to carve it up. I mean, I would just stick with the, the JC bullets because you don't have to do any modifications. So, as far as wheels, like I said, JC bullets,